during the next half hour will be a close-up of a few of the 10,000 men who protect the world's largest city against one of its primary enemies, fire. The occasion, well, this is National Fire Prevention Week, beginning today. Now, we have a lot of weeks in this country. We have Pretzel Week and National Sweater Week and all the rest, and a lot of them are dreams of press agents. But this one is different. Different in that it may save you a lot of money. Different in that it may save your life. Let's begin by talking about how the public reacts to fires. We're in the news business here. We know the excitement, the drama, the emotion in a fire raging out of control, devouring everything in its path. Those are the sort of fires we all know about. We hear about them on the radio, we read about them in the newspapers, and we see them on our television screen. Tuesday night, September 11th, 1951. Just another night for firemen, but all New York is shocked by the story that comes out of it. Arson, homicide, deep in the heart of Manhattan. At first, it looks like a safe-cracking job. Police from Manhattan's Love Squad trail what they think is a known gang of safecrackers into a 9-story building just off Fifth Avenue. 2 detectives go inside the silent gray building. They get their men. But they're all caught by an explosion. A detective and an arsonist are killed. Another suspected firebug is hurled 5 stories down an elevator well. He lives. Top city officials rush to the scene. Mayor Impellitteri, Police Commissioner Monahan, Fire Commissioner Grimmett, Fire Chief Loftus. It's $1 million fire. Manhattan's garment district, quiet and deserted by night, turns into a bedlam. It's a 5-alarm fire. In 1950, only 11 fires in New York City rated 5 alarms. Next day, the story comes out. Police say one of the shopkeepers in the building hired the job done to collect $20,000 insurance. He and his men are booked on charges of arson and homicide.
In 1950, the New York City Fire Department made 84 arrests for arson. Convictions were obtained in 26 cases, 20 others were juvenile delinquents, and another 21 were found guilty of crimes other than arson, but connected with the fire. The art of setting fires assumed such proportions that the department set up a special training course for fire marshals on modern methods used by firebugs. This was one of New York's more spectacular fires. Firemen fought it for 3 hours before getting it under control. But even more than that, the arson plot had the city muttering in rage for days. Eventually, the muttering subsides. But the legal arm of the fire department follows through. There's no rest for firemen when a man is at large who would set a fire for hire or for thrills.
Yes, this was one of the more spectacular fires. It made headlines in every paper, led every newscast. It was the story of the day. The one-alarmers were buried deep on the back pages. But that's not uncommon. The big ones are household knowledge. November 28, 1942. Fire sweeps through the Coconut Grove nightclub in Boston. 493 dead. July 6, 1944. Flames bring down the Circus Big Top at Hartford, Connecticut. 167 dead, mostly women and children. June 5th, 1946, the LaSalle Hotel in downtown Chicago goes up in flames, 61 dead. December 7th, same year, Atlanta, Georgia, the worst hotel fire in history. 121 persons trapped and killed in the blazing Weinkauf Hotel. January 7th, 1950, Davenport, Iowa, fire turned St. Elizabeth's Hospital into a death trap. 37 women patients and 1 nurse die. Big death tolls, every one of them. Why do they happen? Just too many people together and they can't get out. That's the answer. Sometimes it happens on a smaller scale. Maybe just some derelict sleeping off a drunk in a building and fire breaks out, or perhaps 2 small children left alone at home. It doesn't make the big headlines, not that sort of story. But it's the same story, really. Neglect, carelessness, congestion. This is part of our city, too. In the lengthening autumn shadows of Park Avenue skyscrapers. A short subway ride to the fading green of Central Park. It's part of our city, the part with which our firemen are most concerned. Ancient buildings, the mortar crumbling from the bricks. The rooms are crowded. Shops and homes overlap each other. The stairwells, chimneys, there to fan the flames. Here, fire lurks in the piles of trash and debris, waits for the casual cigarette. The kids with their bonfires on a chilly night. To the practiced eye of the fireman, trouble lies all round. What happens with the first flicker of flame, the first whiff of smoke? Well, you can't see it or smell it at the nerve center of the New York City Fire Department, the Alarm Bureau, but you can hear it. And now, with the chattering radio and the clattering of alarm signals, trained men calmly send tons of apparatus roaring into the #1 hazard zone of Manhattan.
2916, Basgate Avenue and 174th Street. Manhattan Dispatcher 40.
Manhattan 1359, St. Nicholas Avenue and 113th Street. KEA 292, KEB 523, the radio alarm assistant of the New York Fire Department, Manhattan Dispatcher 14. $13.59, okay.
1359 going out.
58 and 26, place 2.
58, 26, place 2.
Yeah, okay, they're on. Manhattan 918, Lexington Avenue and 57th Street. Manhattan 918, Lexington Avenue and 57th Street. KEA 292, KEB 523, 40.
The alarm is sounded. The men in Company 58 respond. Stop the traffic, but you can't blow the whistle on the fires that break out in this part of town. 1/3 of all fires in New York City start in tenement districts. How? Mostly carelessness. Where? Mostly in the kitchen. It's an inside fire. Cellars, living rooms, bedrooms, too. When? Well, 3 out of every 4 fires start between 12 noon and 12 midnight. Only 1 out of every 10 comes during the normal sleeping hours, at midnight to 6 a.m. Parked cars. They slow the trucks, sometimes stop them completely. The fire gets in an extra added lick. Sounds silly, but about 1/3 of the city fires start from bonfires or brush fires. Nearly everyone has to burn rubbish, waste paper. Too often it gets out of hand. In a congested area like this, it's got to be stopped fast. Actually, less than 1 fire out of every 100 ever gets beyond the area it's in when firemen arrive on the scene. Speed's the watchword, and the big city fireman lives by the split second. Last year, the average New York fire caused $439 damage. Flames cut 6 buildings out of every 100. They affected 5 out of every 1,000 city dwellers. The fire's in sight now. Every city run is a hazardous race through narrow streets. People on foot, people in cars clog the streets leading to the fire. Almost always, there's a ready-made audience by the time the firemen get there. The chief plots his course. The men carry it out.
Get the ladder up!
More trouble with parked cars. Pinpointing the source of the fire now.
That's all right. It's just 2.5, fellas. 2.5 inch. Give it to 2.5.
Ringside seats, an exciting drama, a big thrill, but not if you're in it, not if you're fighting it.
Get it. I get the... Stand. Hey, I'll go with you. Hey! What did you speak?
The roof and walls keep the smoke in, the firemen out. One of the basic jobs is to hack a hole for the hose to go in, for the smoke to come out, giving the firemen a chance to go in below.
That's all right. 2.5 inch. Give it to 2.
There's more work and drudgery than glory, backbreaking work. Smoke eaters, not just a slang expression for firemen, it's a physical reality. Sometimes it takes hours to bring a smoking, smoldering, smudgy mess under control, but the tide's turning on this one, and the smoke starts to clear away. From 9 stories down comes the water to pour onto the fire. It's a far cry from the volunteer fire departments who first fought fires in New York City years ago. It takes miles and miles of hose to fight a big city fire today. Miles of hose, hundreds of thousands of dollars in equipment. The long-awaited word goes out. Fire under control. No more smoke, plenty of broken windows. Outside, a shell remains. Inside, a mass of rubble. No terrible rush now. The hose goes back a lot more slowly than it came out. For the chief, a great weight is off his shoulders, decisions made, carried out. It's a lifetime of training to direct the crews at a big city fire. And always ahead, another fire. Equipment all packed away, everybody aboard, back to the station house. This time the pace is different. for leather feeling's gone now. Only weariness is left. Weariness and a belly full of smoke. And relief. Relief will be lived to fight another fire. Back at the firehouse, home again. Of course, it isn't really home. It's just a safe and familiar sanctuary until the next fire. The next fire. Next time may be the time that someone doesn't come back.
Headquarters, Fire Department, City of New York. Special Order number 159, September 25th, 1951. Paragraph 1. With regret, the death of fireman first grade James Roach, Hook and Ladder Company 118, which occurred on September 24th, 1951, is hereby announced to the department.
What happened? Back at Hook and Ladder 118, some of Jim Roach's friends recall how it happened.
Well, it was just a one-alarm fire, and he was up on the roof. He was the only one up there. He was opening up the roof. And I guess nobody will ever know what actually did happen, but they claim that it was heavily dense with smoke at the time.
He went up once and then he come down again. He must open the skylight the first time up, and then he probably seen there's too much smoke in the building, went up again. That was the last.
The reason he said that is because he was a very conscientious man. He did his job perfectly. You know?
Very true. One of the finest, even in the fire department, we have our finest.
Very handy fellow. Helped everyone any time they needed any help of any sort around the place.
It seems a great shame that life must be lost over a considerable amount of rubble that's going to come down anyway.
In the firehouse. They make a joke out of it in the comic strips, you know. The pinochle game, loafing, feet up on the table. So it's a joke, is it? Or sitting around a nice cozy fireplace? Listen, there's nothing cozy about waiting for the unknown. And it's not just the firemen. There's the family. They learn to live with that feeling of waiting. And there's work to be done. No plush limousine ever got more loving care than these big red babies. And no telephone is more closely watched. A white cap means an officer's rank, responsibility. Here it comes. There's fire in the city, and it's in our district. Across the city, people stir in their beds and half listen. If the bells grow fainter, back to sleep. If they get closer and closer, out of bed into the window. Maybe it's worth going to. More often than not, it isn't. But others who hear those bells can't go back to sleep. They're firemen's wives. They never get over worrying. Maybe they hope it's a false alarm. Last year in New York, 10,000 false calls, but real or phony, every time a man heads out, his life's in the balance.
Company 58 and Hook and Ladder 26, Fire Department, City of New York, the National Broadcasting Company is particularly indebted for help in preparing this program. Lieutenant Arnold Weintraub acted as technical advisor. And to the more than 10,000 firemen of their city, the people of New York expressed their gratitude and appreciation for a job well done, often in the face of considerable personal sacrifice, and too often at the risk of life. In return, the firemen asked the assistance of all of us. In New York and elsewhere, they ask us to remember there's rarely a fire that could not have been prevented.